ॐ दक्षिणास्य समारम्भा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशववामन कृष्णपाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरुः सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरुः गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्ट्वागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु। Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, in the last session, we saw a very interesting verse. We ended with that verse, which talked about the inquiry, Vedantic inquiry, or inquiry into the teachings of Vedanta Guru Mukhena. From the words of the Guru and Shastra, I, the Moksha Purusharthi, I have to inquire. A process of inquiry has to be done. What is the meaning of inquiry? Inquiry means intellectually I try to churn and see what I already know about a certain thing, and if what I know about a certain thing is not the right knowledge, if it is a misunderstanding, it's a wrong understanding, then with the right pramana, with the right means of knowledge, I do a process of inquiry as to where am I wrong? Where have I gone wrong? What is the reason for my wrong understanding about whatever it is? I'm talking generally about an inquiry. And if I am wrong, why have I been wrong for so long? Why have I had such wrong ideas or conclusions about something for so long? And how can I correct it? Now that I know that there is something wrong in the way I have understood a certain thing, then what is the pramana? What is the means of knowledge? What is it through which I can understand or know the right thing? Remove my misunderstanding or remove my wrong understanding about that particular thing and then correct myself. This process of realizing that what I know is not correct and the commitment to know the right thing, to know it correctly, do whatever is necessary to do it, to understand it, and then change my understanding, give up the wrong understanding, and understand the right thing as it should be understood is a process of inquiry in any field of knowledge. In any field of knowledge. Similarly, in Atmajnanam also, one has to do or go through a process of inquiry. What is the meaning of inquiry here? Inquiry means now Being a moksha purusharthi, I have heard from various sources of the scriptures that what I know about myself is a wrong perception about myself. What is now my knowledge? What is now my idea about myself? I am this body. At the most, I am this body, mind, sense complex. That is my knowledge now. Who are you? You are also a body, mind, sense complex. But then there is something which is making this body, mind, sense complex sentient, capable of working. Then I may say, okay, there is something which is making me work as a sentient being. And there is something else in you which is making you work as a sentient being, keeping you breathing, keeping me breathing, whatever it is. And then there is some kind of an intelligent principle which is looking after me and you and this whole jagat. This is my idea about myself, that I am the body, mind, sense complex. What about the world? Whatever I see in the world outside, in the form of names and forms, that's the reality for me. The changing world is the reality. The name and form is reality. That is my reality. And what is my present perception now? That this world of names and forms, this world of objects and people and situations, this world can make me happy or unhappy. I'm always bound by the world outside, because of which I am happy or unhappy. I have no control over anything here regarding even myself. I am bound, I'm in bondage because I find myself completely floating in this ever changing field of happiness and unhappiness. And there is always somebody else or something else responsible to disturb me. Somebody else or something else is there responsible to make me happy or unhappy. I depend on other people and the world for my happiness and my unhappiness. And therefore, I have to keep on adjusting the knobs of the world outside. I have to adjust the people, adjust the situations, adjust the objects of the world so that I am comfortable and happy. This is my present idea about myself. This is my present knowledge about myself. And by some kind of a good luck or by some kind of Ishvara's grace, probably I am exposed to a culture or some kind of teaching somewhere here say that it is, oh, there is something else. There are some people who are very happy in themselves. I've heard that there are people called jnanis who do not depend on the world for their happiness. I have read some verses of Bhagavad Gita where I have heard Atmanyeva Atmana Tushtaha, Sthita Prajnaha, etc. Can I be that? Is it possible for me to be that happy within myself? Is it possible for me not to be, managed by the world outside? Is it possible for me to be beyond these ups and downs which I find myself with the influence of the world outside? Is it possible for me? And then I am told by the Guru and the Shastra that yes, it is possible. And the Shastra and the Guru say, look, your unhappiness and your bondage is because you are having a psychological and emotional dependence on something which is ephemeral, something which is not the reality, something which is mithya, which is not reality. Then what is the reality? You do not know what that reality is. You mistake yourself to be something other than what you really are. You mistake the world to be something other than what really it is. You have an opinion about Ishvara or the Lord which is something totally wrong or different from what really it is. Then my question would be, why is this so? Why? If I am the reason for my unhappiness, if I am the reason for my happiness, And if the scriptures are telling me that the world has nothing to do with your happiness or unhappiness, the world can really not bind you, and that whatever I know about myself and about the world and about Lord or Ishvara is something totally different. Why is this? What is the reason for this wrong understanding of mine, which is keeping me in bondage forever? And then the same teaching, the same scriptures, the same Shastra, the Guru tells me, look, yes, there is something called as an ignorance or a basic ignorance or a Mula Avidya, under the influence of which every jiva makes this mistake of seeing itself to be different from what it really is. It mistakes, it misunderstands the very nature of itself. So you are misunderstanding the very nature of yourself. You do not know what you really are. And what you know, what you think you are, is really not you. What you think the whole world is really is not. What you do not know about this world, what it really is, you do not know that because of the same ignorance. And then the Shastra says it is possible to get rid of this wrong understanding about yourself and the world and Ishvara, and once and for all get rid of this ignorance and no longer be bound by either your own body mind sense complex or by others or by the world itself, the world outside itself. Is it so? Is it possible? Then what should I do about it? Then the Shastra, the Guru say, come to me. The Guru says, I will use the words of the Shastra, the Pramana, which is the only means of knowledge. And the problem is, or the important thing is that I will give you the words of the Shastra. I will unfold the words of Shastra, but you have to do the enquiry. You have to literally churn your intellect. Churn your intellect like churning curds. I mean, churning the curds and making it buttermilk, by which this, in which process the pure butter comes out. And in this churning process, what is called as the Vedanta Vichara, what happens? In this process of churning, I see my mistakes. I understand my mistakes. I see the reality, the correct thing, what the correct thing is. Correct my mistakes. And this particular process of churning is called an inquiry. It is a churning because I have to get rid of, or I have to unlearn all that I have known so far as wrong. It is very difficult for us to accept. If the Shastra says you are not the body, what? Am I not the body? I am the body. I feel sick. I feel tired. I am growing old. I was born. I am seeing bodies dying. I am also going to die one day. How can you say I am not the body? The Shastra has to say that is your wrong understanding. And to correct a wrong understanding by the right knowledge requires a lot of enquiry, which is equivalent to churning. That is why in the 11th verse, the Upanishad said, Atmanam aranim kritva pranavancha uttararanim jnana nirmathana abhyasat pasham dahati panditaha. This enquirer, a jnana yogi is the enquirer. Jnana yogi is the one whose intellect is prepared for this churning that is going on. Churning or inquiry in the form of Shravanam and Mananam. Vedanta Vichara Shravanam Guru Mukhena. And constant mulling over that and then trying to remove all my wrong understandings and doubts about this knowledge. So Shravanam and Mananam is called as the Vedanta Vichara. And any Vichara is meant to remove my wrong ideas and establish the correct knowledge, removing the misunderstanding and installing the right understanding is what is called as the inquiry. And that is what is being done by in Jnana Yoga by a inquirer or by a Jnana Yogi or a Mumukshu or a Moksha Purusharthi. And here the example was given that one has to make one's intellect like the lower log or piece or strip of wood, and this knowledge, Vedantic knowledge or the Vedanta Jnanam, Guru Mukhena Shastra Shravanam and Mananam in me, it has to be made like a vichara or churning, for which the churning rod is Vedanta. Vedanta Pramana becomes the churning rod or the Uttara Arani. And when with the Vedanta Vichara, with the Vedanta as the Pramana, Vichara is done in the form of friction between the upper wooden, strip and the lower wooden strip. Atmanam Aranim Kritva Pranavancha Uttararanim. Vedanta Vichara or Vedanta teaching, Shastra teaching is here called as Pranavamcha Uttararanim. Pranava Vichara, that is Omkara Vichara, as it is done in certain Upanishads, like the Mandukya Upanishad. What is that? Nrisimha Uttara Purva Uttara Tapaniya Upanishad. All these are Omkara Vichara Upanishads that are done. So, using this Omkara Vichara as the upper, Arani, the piece of wood, when this Mathanam is done, when the Vedanta Vichara, Vedanta, teaching is churned into my intellect with the trust in the Guru and Shastra, okay, with the Shraddha in Guru and Shastra, what happens is the wrong understanding is removed and the right understanding sets in. And what is the right understanding? Aham Brahma Asmi, Aham Satyam, Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. This central teaching of Vedanta becomes the right knowledge. And what does this do, this right knowledge? This right knowledge forever frees me from this bondage which I have been in for millions of my lives, millions of lives before. The very fact that I'm here today, it means that I have been ignorant all these lives. Okay, and if in this life I do not get rid of this ignorance and jump out of the cycles of birth and death, definitely I'll come back again in another body when this body goes. Never ending this is. So he says, Jnanam nirmathana abhyasat pasham dahati pandita. Pasha. The pasha means what? The bondage of this life and death cycle is once and for all given up. So what is this Omkara Vichara now? What is it that I mistake myself for? Here in the next three verses, the Avasthatraya Viveka is brought about, because that is what is talked about in the Omkara Vichara. In Omkara Vichara, in the Mandukya Upanishad, the Upanishad talks about the three avasthas of the Jiva and the Sakshi Chaitanya Atma Aham as the Avasthatraya Sakshi. That which is neither of the three avasthas, but that which is the very witness, the consciousness behind the three avasthas. What are the three avasthas? The Jagrat avastha, the Swapna avastha, and the Sushupti avastha. And what are these avasthas for? To whom? It is for the Jiva, not for Atma. Avasthatrayas are not the states of consciousness. No, please be very careful. Many times, many commentaries or many translations are expressing like this, the three states of consciousness. No, consciousness does not change. Consciousness is changeless. There are no avasthas in consciousness. The three avasthas, that is the waking avastha, Jagrat avastha, the dreaming avastha or the swapna avastha, and the sushupti avastha or the deep sleep state belong to the jiva, to the mind, to the intellect, not to the atma. Then what is atma? Atma, or that consciousness, with the upadhi of the waker, with the upadhi of the stula sharira, is called as the Jagrat Jiva or the Jagrat Avastha. The same Atma, consciousness, when it is associated with the Swapna Upadhi, the Jiva becomes a Swapna Jiva. And when the same changeless Atma, in the presence of the deep sleep Upadhi called as Avidya Upadhi, the same consciousness is called as the Sushupta. The Jiva becomes the Sushupta. But what is this consciousness? That which is changeless, which is behind the Jagrata Avastha also, Swapna Avastha also, Sushupti Avastha also. And that is the reason why I can say, I am now awake. And when I get up tomorrow morning after going to sleep, I can say, I went to sleep at 9 o'clock in the night and I had all kinds of dreams. I will take, I'll feel very happy in expressing my dreams, also explaining to my friends and others, and I will laugh over it also. So I know I'm the same person who went through all these dreams in the Swapnavastha. And then I don't know when I fell asleep. I had a dreamless sleep, and then now I'm feeling so relaxed and refreshed. I didn't know anything when I fell asleep, and now I'm feeling so relaxed. Who is it? Who is it that went without any states, but that which was the witness of the Jagrata Avastha also, Swapna Avastha also, Sushupti Avasthas also? It is I, this Atma, who is neither the waker, nor the dreamer, nor the sleeper. But with the waker's upadhi, I manifest myself as the waker. In association with a dreamer upadhi, I means I, the Atma, manifest in the form of a dreamer. And in association with the avidya upadhi in deep sleep, I, the Atma, manifest myself as the sleeper or sushupta jiva. That is what is explained in the next three verses, where I think we also saw the 12th verse to some extent. I think we saw that the 12th verse which said, Sayeva Maya Parimohitatma Shariramastaya Karoti Sarvam Striyannapanadi Vichitra Bhogaihi Sayeva Jagrat Paritripti Meti. So he says, Sayeva Atma. I, this consciousness, I myself, this consciousness, Maya Parimohitaha, because of the effect of Maya, because of the Avarana Shakti and the Vikshepa Shakti of Maya, Shariram Asthaya, having acquired the upadhi of the sthula shariram astaya, karoti sarvam, I do everything. What is it that does the vyavahara in my Jagrata Avastha, the 8 hours of the day, or from morning till night I go to sleep? It is the Sthula Shariram. Of course, Sukshma Shariram has to back it. Without the backing of the Sukshma Shariram, without the backing of Atma, the consciousness, the Sthula Shariram cannot do anything, because the Sthula Shariram is Jadam. We know that. We already know that. But what he says here, it is the Sthula Shariram backed by I, the Atma. Because of me, the Sthula Shariram gets sentient and is capable of doing all the Jagrit Vyavaharas. What are the Jagrit Vyavaharas? What this Sthula Sharira does with the Sthula Prapancha. For the details of what is the name of the Jagrit Jiva, what is the name of the Jagrit Prapancha, what is the name of Swapna Jiva, Swapna Prapancha or Sukshma Prapancha, what is the name of the deep sleep, that is Sushupta Jiva, and also the Karana Prapancha, that we all have studied any number of times, and also it is the basic in Tattva Bodha. We cannot forget this. Whenever we are talking about Avasthatraya Viveka, we have to know what is a Vishwa, Tejasa, Prajna, what is Virat, Hiranya, Garbha and Ishvara. And who am I? I am the consciousness behind the Vishwa, Tejasa, Prajna at the individual Upadhi level, and Brahman at the Samashti level, behind the Upadhi of Sthula Prapancha, Sukshma Prapancha, Karana Prapancha. That is the Virat, Hiranya, Garbha and Ishvara. This is what is something which we cannot forget. Then, what is this Sthula Shariram? It is a reflecting medium in which the Atma Chaitanyam is reflecting in the Jagrita Avastha, manifests itself as a Karta, Sarvam Karoti. So, Sayeva Maya Parimohitatma, Sthula Shariram Asthaya, having taken the Sthula Shariram as the Upadhi, Sarvam Karoti. All the Vyavaharas, Sarvya Vyavahara, all the Vyavaharas are done. What kind of Vyavaharas? Bhogya Bhokta Vyavaharas. My interaction with people. For that, he uses the word Stri. Stri does not mean that I have a Vyavahara only with the Stri or only with the Purusha, nothing. Stri is an Upalakshana for other people. That's all. People become the Bhogyas for me when I am the Bhokta. I become the Bhogya for the other people who are experiencing me. So in the Jagrita Avastha, the Bhogya Bhoktru Prapancha which is there, the Prapancha along with all its jivas and objects and everything becomes the Bhogya, and I become the Bhokta. And I experience the other jivas. Stri here means the other jivas. The other Bhogya Vastus I experience and transact with. Annapanadi Vichitra Bhogaihi. Annapanas represent the non-living things. My Vyavahara or my transaction in Jagrita Avastha is not only with jivas, not only with living beings, isn't it? My Vyavahara is also with Jada Prapancha, with non-living beings. Therefore, Stri Annapanadi Vichitra Bhogaihi. Stri means with other living beings, other people. Annapanadi. Annapanadi means other bhoga vastus. Stri here means other people who become bhoga vastus for me and I become the bhokta. Or I become the bhoga vastu for somebody else. Correct? Now, for example, I am speaking to you, you are listening to me. We are paraspara bhogya bhoktas. Correct? As listeners, you are listening to me and I'm speaking to you. So we are transacting with each other, mutually transacting. That is what is called as the bhoga, experiencing, where one becomes the object of experience and the other becomes the subject of experience. So strihi, annapanadi. I interact with, I eat, I drink, I interact with other things. I go out, I travel, I do whatever it is. I read, my interaction with this book. I eat, my interaction is with the food outside. I drink water, it is in interaction with water outside. These are all what? My transactions, where the transacting physical body, sthula sharira, is in the form of bhokta And there are bhogya vastus. So vichitra bhogaihi sayeva jagrat paritripti meti. I, the Atma, manifest myself as a transacting jiva, taking on the upadhi of sthula sharira, and I say, I did this, I did that, correct? I went to my office today, I did this work today, I'm going out in the evening for shopping today, I bought this, I ate this. So, what is this I actually? It's actually the Jagrit Jiva who has done all the transaction. But because of Maya Parimohita, because of my delusion, because of this ignorance, I say, I am interacting with you. I got this from you. I experienced it from the world. So, Maya Parimohita Atma Sayeva, that I, that same me, I consider myself to have done the transactions and Tripti Meti, happy also with my transactions. Okay? I got it for a bargain. You see, oh, you paid that much in this particular place. I got the same thing for 50% of the price. Tripti Meti. Or I went to a nice restaurant and had a nice meal. Tripti Meti. Or I had a nice interaction with the long lost friend and I'm feeling very happy. Tripti Meti. Who is actually feeling happy? Who's the bhokta here? Atma, I, this consciousness is not karta or bhokta. Atma is only the witness consciousness behind the bhokta bhogya sthula sharira. So, this is one of the vicharas done in detail in Omkara Vichara. Okay, so this is the Jagrit avastha of the three avasthas. And these three avasthas are not Atma's avasthas. Please remember, these three avasthas are the avasthas of the jiva, of the mind. It's the mind and the intellect and the jiva which is transacting as the Jagrit jiva, dreaming as a Swapna jiva, and does not know anything, folded up all the sense organs and mind in deep sleep. Atman is the light of consciousness, which is ever the same, not having any changes, no movements, no changes at all, but that which lights up my Jagrat Avastha also, that which lights up my Swapna Avastha also, that which lights up the Sushupti Avastha of this Jiva. Therefore, I am able to say I am the sleeper, I am the dreamer, I am the deep sleeper also. So, the first portion of the Avasthatraya Viveka in the form of Jagrat Avastha is the 12th verse. Now, 13th verse talks about the other two avasthas. See, these three avasthas are mutually exclusive, correct? When I'm awake, I'm not dreaming, unless I'm daydreaming. Okay? I'm not asleep also. When I'm really dreaming, I'm neither awake nor am I fully or deeply sleepy, in deep sleep. When I'm in deep sleep, I'm neither awake nor am I dreaming. Therefore, the waking state, the dreaming state, and the deep sleep state, or the Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti avasthas are what? Mutually exclusive. What is the common thread which is in and through all these three, but which does not get affected by any of these three? That common thread is this thread of consciousness or aham, I, this Atma, aham asmi. That aham, that Atma is the thread of consciousness, common thread of consciousness, which is in and through all the three avasthas. Absolutely in and through. And not affected by either the Jagrit avastha or Swapna avastha or Sushupti avastha. So now, one of the mutually exclusive avasthas was dealt with in the 12th verse. Now, in the 13th verse, the other two avasthas are being talked about. That is, the same Maya Parimohita Atma at a certain time takes on this Swapna Jiva Upadhi called Taijasa, becomes the Taijasa, and dreams. And the same Atma, in association with the avidya upadhi, avidya of nidra upadhi, becomes a totally ignorant, not knowing anything, sushupta jiva. These two states of the jiva, are being talked about here in the 13th verse. Swapne sa jivaha sukha dukkha bhokta swamayaya kalpita jiva loke sushupti kale sakale viline tamobhibhutah sukha rupameti. Simple. I have already explained all this, and it's quite easy to now, understand this. So, Saha Jivaha, this Jiva, who's backed by this consciousness. Which Jiva? The Jagrat Jiva. What happens to this Jagrat Jiva? Okay. Swapne goes to the world of dream, in which this Jiva projects its own world in the dream. In dream, what do? I project a dream world. I project myself into the dream as the dream bhokta. I project various jivas and various experiences in this dream world. And then what do? I go through sukha dukkhas there also. Isn't it? I go through sukha dukkhas there also. There also I have fear. There also I have sadness. There also I dream that I'm going to an examination without any preparation. There also I dream that I'm standing on the top of a hill and I'm about to fall down. How many of us have not dreamt of these things? Tell me. There also I dream that some animal is chasing me and I'm running, trying to protect myself. All of us have dreamt this. We have dreamt our very close person dying, or some long gone and dead person comes back and transacts with us in the dream. Isn't it? So I do a kalpana matra, kalpita prapancha. Sa eva jivaha swamaya kalpita jiva loke. Swamaya kalpita swapna loke, in swapna, sukha dukkha bhokta. Just like I am a sukha dukkha bhokta by my transactions in the waking world, I become a sukha dukkha bhokta in my swapna prapancha also. But one good thing is, as soon as I wake up from my swapna, all my swapna dukkha is gone. All the swapna sukha is also gone, no doubt. But unfortunately, when I go to sleep in the night with a problem in the Ishvara, Ishvara Kalpita Jagat outside, in my Jagrit Prapancha, when I wake up next morning, the problem has not disappeared. The problem remains for the Jiva. For the Atma, there is no problem. For I, the Atma, Jagat is Mithya, problem is Mithya, it doesn't make any difference. But when the Jiva wakes up, and for the waking Jiva, again the problem becomes a real problem. Okay, that means what? Where were my problems of this world when I was dreaming, when I was in deep sleep? No, they are there only when I wake up, in the waking state. This itself shows that the waking world and my transactions with the waking world are mithya. They are coming and going, they are not permanent. What is permanent? I, the Sakshi Chaitanya Atma, who is asangaha, who is not afflicted by anything that is happening in the world outside. Why? Because the world of names and forms is only an ephemeral reality. It is not the absolute reality. This is the reason why Avasthatraya Viveka is so deeply taught in all our scriptures, giving this example that in one part of your day only what your problems are, they're not there in the two other parts of your being. Then how can you say that this is the reality? Therefore, taking this Avasthatraya Viveka only, In Mandukya Upanishad also, in the Mandukya Karika, Gaudapadacharya proves that the Jagat is mithya. The world outside with which you are transacting in the waking state is as false as the Jagat you are interacting with in the Swapna Avastha. Just like Swapna Avastha is false when you wake up, in Jagrat Avastha also, that this Jagrat Jagat and all our transactions are false. Iti I will know when I wake up to the higher reality of Atma Jnanam. The same thing what happens, last line, Sushupti Kale Sakale Viline. In Sushupti Kala, Jagrat world is gone, Jagrat Upadhi is gone, Swapna Jagat is gone, Swapna Upadhi is gone. What is present? Only Nidra induced avidya. So same Maya, avidya, what happens? Sakale Viline. The other two upadhis and the other two worlds are vilina. They're completely resolved. Tamobhibhutaha. Tamobhibhutaha means what? Overwhelmed by tamas. Abhibhutaha, overwhelmed. Overwhelmed by avidya, tamas, avidya of tamas or nidra. Sukharupameti. Sukharupam. I'm happy, isn't it? There is no problem at that time. Absolutely happy. No pains, no mental pains, no physical pains. That is one time which I want to be in all the time, because deep sleep state is the state where I am happy. I'm ignorant of everything, but at the same time, I'm happy. Now, what happens after this? Once I have done my transactions in the Jagrat Avastha as the Vishwa, then I have experienced the Swapna Avastha as a Tejasa, gone through the deep sleep state for whatever number of hours, whatever it is, that is as the Prajna. Then the time for me comes up to wake up. I can't be only sleeping continuously. I have to wake up. Then again I wake up to that waker state or the Jagrit Jiva called as the Vishwa. What is it that makes me wake up? Once I've gone to sleep, how do I wake up? If nobody wakes me up, also I wake up, correct? Nobody has to wake me up. Even without an alarm, I will wake up. What is the reason why the Jiva wakes up from Sushupti Avastha? That is talked about in the 14th verse. He says, Punascha Janmantara Karma Yogat Sayeva Jivaha Swapita Prabuddhaha Puratraye Kridati Yascha Jivastatastu Jatam Sakalam Vichitram Adharam Yasmin Layam Yati Puratrayancha. So why do I wake up? How do I wake up? Punaha Janmantara Karma Yogat. The prarabdhas for the next day are waiting for me. Janmantara Karma Yogat means what? Janmantara Krita Karma Phala is there. Tomorrow's Karma Phala is waiting for me. At whatever time it has to start tomorrow morning at 6:30 or 6 or whatever it is, that prarabdha is unfolding and it is waiting for me. Sayeva swapitah jivaha prabuddhaha. That same jiva who was in deep sleep wakes up. So for those people who die in sleep, they don't wake up the next morning because there is no prarabdha for the next day for them. Nothing is waiting for them for the next day. Therefore, what happens here? The person goes, but if my prarabdha is still there, still a long way to go, the next morning's, next day's prarabdha, I have to start working upon. It is getting manifested, and with the kick of the first prarabdha, I am kicked away. Literally, I wake up with the alarm or without the alarm or whatever it is. So punascha means the same jiva. Punaha, again. That means these three states are going on one after another. The one who was awake, who dreamt and who slept. Who is this? Maya Parimohita Atma means what? This Atma manifesting itself as three different states, three different Jiva states, three different Jiva states with three different upadhis. The next morning again, for this Jiva to wake up, Janmantara Karma Yoga Sayeva Swapita Jiva, that same Jiva. See, he doesn't say Swapita Atma, Swapita Jiva. Atma does not sleep. Atma doesn't have to sleep and wake up. It is the Jiva who sleeps and wakes up. Sayeva Swapitaha Jivaha Prabuddha wakes up. Why? Because of the prarabdhas waiting for me. And then what happens? Puratraye kridati yahacha jivaha tatastu jatam sakalam vichitram. So this jiva or this jivatma, puratraye kridati, in three different states and forms, it goes on swimming. Okay? The Atma with the Upadhi of the waker becomes the, what you call as the Vishwa, the Jagrat Jiva, Swapna Jiva Tejasa, then the Sushupta Jiva Prajna. So the Jiva is, what is Jiva? The reflection of I, when I, the Atma, gets reflected in the mind, that reflection with the Sukshma Sharira is called as the Jiva. Isn't it? That is the Abhasa Chaitanyam, Chidabhasa. That is what is called as a Jiva. So it is this Jiva, Puratraye Kridati. All the time it is Puratraye Kridati. In these three Puras, in these three states, the Jiva, Atma manifesting itself as the Jiva, keeps on swimming from one place to the other, one place to the other, one place to the other. Okay? And Sakalam Vichitram Jatam. Vichitram Jatam. Because of the Prarabdha, my experiences are different, your experiences are different. Vichitra experiences. So Puratraye Kridati Yascha Jivaha Tatastu Jatam Sakalam Vichitram. Okay, so all the Vichitra or different kinds of experiences, different kinds of worlds are projected and born. Then ultimately for this Jiva, ultimately for these three upadhis and this Jiva undergoing the three avasthas, what is the ultimate adharam? What is that ultimate adhishtanam? What is that consciousness in which the three avasthas rise and fall? It is nothing but I, the Sakshi Chaitanya Atma. I, the Sakshi Chaitanya Atma. So, who am I then? I'm not this Puratraya Kridati, that Jiva. I'm not that. Adharam, Anandam, Akhanda Bodham. Who am I? I am the very Adhara, the very Adhishtanam of the Jiva in all these three states. Anandam, Purnatva Swarupa Atma Ahamasmi. Akhanda Bodham. That Bodham means Bodha Swarupa, Chit Swarupa, consciousness unbroken. Akhanda Bodha Swarupa, Ananda Swarupa, Adhara Swarupa Atma Ahamasmi. This can also be called as Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa Atma. Adharam means Sat Rupena, Asmi Rupena Adharaha Ahamasmi. Ananda Rupena, Purnatva Rupena Aham Atma Asmi. Akhanda Bodha Rupena, Chit Swarupena Aham Atma Asmi. So who am I? Sat Chit Ananda Atma. Adhara means the Satrupa Atma Aham, consciousness. Akhanda Bodham means the Chitrupa consciousness Swarupa Atma. Ananda Rupa means the Purnatva Swarupa Sukha Swarupa Atma Ahamasmi. Yasmin Layam Yati Puratrayancha. All the three states of the Jiva, all the three upadhis of the Jiva Yasmin layam yati. In me, this consciousness. In the words of Mandukya Upanishad, I, this consciousness, is called as the Turiya Atma, Turiyam. You must have heard this word, Turiyam. Who am I? I am neither the Jagrat Jiva, nor the Swapna Jiva, nor the Sushupta Jiva, but I am the Turiya Atma. Avasthatraya Sakshi Turiya Atma. Because of me, the Jagrat Avastha is there. Because of me, this consciousness, the Jiva experiences the Swapna Avastha as the Swapna Jiva. Because of me, the Sushupta Jiva experiences Sushupti. Then who am I? I am that Turiya Atma in which Yasmin Puratrayancha Layam Yati. All the three Puras, all the three states of this Jiva, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupta, Upadhis. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupta, Sushupti experiences. All these ultimately resolve. Resolve back into where? Into this consciousness. This is Yasmin Layam Yati Puratrayancha. So who am I? I am neither the Jagrit Jiva, nor the Swapna Jiva, nor the Sushupta Jiva. Aham Turiya Atma Asmi. Sat Chit Ananda Atma Asmi. Yasmin Puratrayam Layam Yati. So all these three states of the Jiva ultimately resolve into me. Okay. So this is the Avasthatraya Viveka which was talked about. Okay. Why was it talked about Avasthatraya Viveka? Because in the 11th verse, Atmanam Aranim Kritva Pranavancha Uttararanim was talked about. Vedanta Vichara in the form of Omkara Vichara, may that be done. Take up for your inquiry, Vedanta Vichara, for your inquiry of Vedanta, take up the topic of Omkara Vichara. That is why I said Pranavancha Uttararanim. And what is this Pranava Vichara? What is this Omkara Vichara? That was explained in the 12th verse, 13th verse, and 14th verse. And this entire, the three verses, these three verses, what has been given in three verses, is the topic of entire Mandukya Upanishad and Mandukya Karika. Okay, 22 or 23 verses of the Agama Prakarana and totally another 100 verses of the Mandukya Karika. That has been condensed by Pitamaha Brahma, the Acharya, here into just 3 verses. It is a summarization of the Pranava Vichara or the Omkara Vichara. Okay. Then, now, in the next few verses, Bhagwan, that is Acharya Brahma, wants to say that it's not only that this Atma manifests itself as the Jagrat Jiva, Swapna Jiva, Sushupta Jiva, but it is the same consciousness, the same Atma, the same consciousness manifests as the entire Sthula Samashti also. Sthula Sukshma Karana Samashti also. Whatever is there in the Vyashti, what is Vyashti? With regard to this Jiva, these three states were explained, Avasthatraya. Then it is the same Atma called as Brahman with respect to the Samashti, manifests everything in the Samashti. Okay? Everything that I see in this Jagat, this Atma is itself the Jagat Karanam. It is this Atma itself manifests itself as this entire Jagat that I am experiencing. And from the point of view of that Samashti total, I give it a name Brahman, but I, the Atma, and Brahman, which is the Samashti, Adharam, Ananda Swarupam, they are not two different things. Aham ayam atma Brahma. This prajnanam is Brahma. So now, what is the samashti manifestation? From Vyakti or from Vyashti to Samashti also, it is being talked about here. So, in the 15th verse, we'll just start the 15th verse and then we'll see whether we can complete it. So, Ye tasmad jayate pranaha manah sarvendriyani cha kham vayur jyotirapah prithivi vishwasya dharini. So, Ye tasmat, from this very Atma. This very Atma in which the Puratrayam became Laya. Puratrayam Layam Yati Asmin. Where the three Vyashti Upadhis, the three Vyashti Avasthas which resolve into be this Atma. From the same Atma, this entire Jagat manifests. It is the very Adhishtanam from which the entire Jagat arises, exists, and then ultimately resolves back. So, Ye tasmat means what? Ye tasmat brahmatmanaha. From this Brahman and Atma. Ye tasmat brahmanaha, ye tasmat atmanaha. Okay? From this brahmatmanaha, ye tasmat means from this. Pranaha jayate. Pranaha means what? Pancha pranas. Pancha pranas from the point of view of the Vyashti also. Okay? That is the Sukshma Sharira. He's talking about the Sukshma Sharira now. Sukshma Prapancha, Sukshma Sharira. The Sukshma Prapancha in the form of Hiranyagarbha. The Sukshma Sharira in the form of the Indriyas and Prana and Mana. When it comes to Vyashti, that is individual. When it comes to the Samashti, in the form of the entire Samashti Sukshma Prapancha. What do we call it? Hiranyagarbha we call it. So, Yetasmat Jayate. Yetasmat means Kasmat Brahmatmanaha. Yetasmat Brahmatmanaha Pranaha Jayate. All the Pancha Pranas, as far as the Vyashti is concerned. Sutratma, the Samashti Prana, is born as far as the Samashti is concerned. Manaha, my inner Karanam, Antakaranam, Vyashti level. Hiranyagarbha, Samashti Buddhi, Samashti Manaha, that is also born. Sarvendriyani cha, all the Indriyas, 10 Indriyas, Pancha Jnanendriyas, Pancha Karmendriyas, Manaha he has already told, which has other 3 functional parts, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankaraha. So the individual Antakarana is born. At the same time, the corresponding Samashti Antakaranam in the form of Samashti Buddhi, Samashti Manaha is born. Born means what? Appears. Nothing is, it's not born, it appears. It manifests. It appears in this Atma. Ye tasmat brahmatmanaha manaha jayate, pranaha jayate, sarvendriyani jayanti. Okay? And all these you have to see as Samashti also. At the level of Samashti also, the entire Sukshma Prapancha and also the Indriyas, the various Devatas, Indriya Devatas are born. And I think now we can't go on further because it's getting late. So let us take up this verse in the next session. Nandantu sadhaka sarve vinashyantu vidushakaha avastha shambhavi mestu prasannostu gurus sada sarve bhavantu sukhinah sarve santu niramayaha sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschid dukham apnuyat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat.